We're going to be going over, in this particular video, signs and what they mean, or perhaps better stated, what they could mean. Almost 4 million jobs created since he took office, since his election. Almost 4 million jobs.
Politicians have tried, oh have they tried, to centralize authority among the hands of a small few.
State of the Union coming up in just a few days from the time I'm making this video of the United States. Let me tell you what this is what the sign is. The State of the Union, not just for this country where I'm sitting, the US, but for the entire globe. The signs, which sometimes can be policies, anything that lifts you up is a sign.
Donald Trump came to Indiana and talked a lot about what happened with the Carrier Corporation and shipping their jobs out of state. Here's someone who worked for Carrier, and he has a question for you.
How you doing, Mr. President?
How are you?
My name is Eric Cottenham, and I represent the Steelworkers Union.
Does the rain not fall on the righteous and the wicked alike? State of the Union of the United States is good, unparalleled good in world history right now.
When somebody says, like the person you just mentioned, who I'm not going to advertise for, that he's going to bring all these jobs back. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do?
Economic growth has hit 4.2%. Now, Donald Trump was stating that he believed he could hit 4%. And people under Obama were saying, oh, he's nuts, he's crazy, he's stupid, it's more crazy talk out of Trump. Because that's what they always say, right?
I see them all the time. Bureaucrats think they can run over your lives, overrule your values, meddle in your faith.
That's 4.2. That's unheard of right there. Not only this, but where has much of that growth been? The very groups that were told, oh, he hates you, he doesn't like you, he's against you, he's fighting you, he's attacking you. African American unemployment has achieved the lowest rate ever recorded in history. That's in 2 years. This is a guy that doesn't like black people, is that correct? Quit allowing people that are puppeteers on top to play you like fools, because you're not fools. None of you. You wouldn't be watching my videos if you were idiots, and you're not.
There's no answer to it. He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is, he doesn't have an answer.
And above all else, we know this. In America, we don't worship government, we worship God.
So on both the sciences and the medias, some have said that only an idiot would believe that signs in the heavens actually mean anything.
The authorities tried to steer them away from the border, but failed.
Well, I'd like to, respectfully, I'd like to take a shot at being that idiot.
They streamed across a huge sewage canal, heading to the building on the far side that is the way into the United States.
More than this, I'm going to be making the case to you that these signs in the heavens seem to be surrounding, encompassing the policies, actions, and life of the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, leading all the way directly to will probably be the most controversial and also likely the most watched State of the Union address in all of U.S. history.
George Soros says he's giving $500 million to help migrants and refugees.
He was shot in the street like a dog by a illegal alien gangbanger who was on his third gun charge, was just released from the LA County jail that same day.
To invest in startups, establish companies, social impact initiatives. Don't you love that term? And businesses started by migrants and refugees. That is his pitch. There are 21 million refugees, by the way.
So he found my son, shot him in the stomach, and while he was on his back, according to the coroner, with his hands up in the air, shot him through his hand, blew his fingers off, and shot him in the head and killed him right there on the same street he was born on.
All Americans are hurt by uncontrolled, illegal migration.
In terms of signs in a biblical context, it's about as straightforward as it gets. In Genesis 1 verse 14, and God said, let there be lights in the vault of the skies.
My son, Ronald da Silva, was murdered April 27, 2002 by an illegal alien who had been previously deported.
Hispanic American unemployment is its lowest rate ever recorded in U.S. history in 2 years of him being president.
And what makes me so outrageous is that we came here legally. Thank you, Mr. Trump. I totally support you. You have my vote.
To separate the day from the night. So anybody that tells you that signs don't have a meaning, this would be your current science crowd. Oh no, they don't have a meaning. Why are you using a watch, dude? Your sun and your moon are signs in the sky that are telling you the difference between day and night. Also, those signs in the sky are separating out your seasons. In fact, the constellations, you have 12 constellations up there. And this is in every culture going all the way back to the ancient world. Those constellations begin with Virgo the Virgin. By the way, there are 12 of them. Virgo the Virgin, they end with Leo the Lion. They're telling you, in every ancient culture, the biblical story, painted right up there in the stars, right above. That vault of stars, it says right here. And the sun and the moon, which are going to separate the day from the night. So don't tell me the signs don't mean anything. We're just extrapolating a little bit further. That's all we're doing here.
Because there has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like it. People have been, their lives have been destroyed for doing 1/5 of what you've done.
And let them, the signs in the sky, serve as signs to mark sacred times, days, and years. Now, not to bring it up, but it appears to be true.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
That Donald Trump, born on June 14th, 1946. President Trump was born on a blood moon 700 days before Israel became a nation. The signs in the moon are for the Eastern world. More specifically, these signs are for Israel.
President Trump visited some of Jerusalem's most sacred sites. He placed his hand on the Western Wall and put a prayer note in a crevice. He is the first sitting U.S. president to visit what is considered the holiest of Jewish prayer sites.
But let's take that a step further. And by the way, there's 6 of these, 7, including that Donald Trump was born 700 days on the date of a blood moon before Israel became a nation. Number 1, Jerusalem becomes the capital of Israel in the end of 2017.
Through all of these years, presidents representing the United States have declined to officially recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
I will take you on a journey. I will first take you to Israel.
Other presidents had failed to do this. In fact, that was the hand of God that allowed them to fail to do this, because it was waiting for this president right here, Donald Trump, who was born a sign of a blood moon, which is a sign for Israel and the Middle East, something for them to zoom in, hone, and look at in their prophetic pages. Number 2.
Why would they give half of Jerusalem away? This will not happen, says the Lord.
In fact, we have declined to acknowledge any Israeli capital at all. But today we finally acknowledge the obvious, that Jerusalem is Israel's capital.
Gotti called me and he says, you're going to probably want to take a look at the numbers on this and the day that it lands on.
If I actually go to Inauguration Day itself and calculate the day.
Put this in perspective. This is Inauguration Day, the day he would lay his hand on the Bible and swear in as President of the United States.
Just the odds that that number, 3 sevens, would be associated with the presidential Inauguration Day, and not for Hillary, but for Trump. And recalculate 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days. That means that he's supposed to get in there, but I would imagine that this is already said and done after we get the video produced.
Now, the footage you just watched is footage right here where I'm actually rocking a a mullet with a little bit longer hair. That footage comes from one of 2 videos that we uploaded prior to the election of Donald Trump that predicted and prophesied the election of Donald Trump. The inspiration for those came from prophecies from Kim Clement and also from my own family, my mother, my people that are close. Some of them have been advisors to presidents, prophetically. Signs can be when somebody is bombarded, like unnaturally bombarded, more than in all of world history, bombarded with attacks, which would most certainly be the case with your president right here. You had allegations that began actually with this lady back here. In fact, this comes out of our Hillary occult video, which, come to think, we had 3 videos that went up before the election of Trump that all were predicting the presidential election of Donald Trump. This lady back here began stating that she was being cyber attacked, but more than this, that Trump was in coordination with Russia to cyber attack her because she began claiming, and I couldn't believe she was actually claiming this, I lost my filthy emails, I can't keep track of my own stuff. This was somebody you were actually going to elect for president? Is somebody that's openly stating to you, I can't keep track of my own dirty emails? How long is she going to keep track of your nuclear codes if you elect her? But on top of this, inside of Trump worked in collusion with the Russians to hack my filthy emails, and then they were released everywhere, and people could read how dirty I was. These were, when they talk about Russian collusion, first of all, the word collusion means you were secretly and or privately talking. Somebody I privately talk to people all the time. Now, it can have a negative connotation, like in the case of this lady here. Well, those emails, I think we were one of the only ones that was actually going through and reading off to you what they said. These were really dirty emails. There's Bill Clinton in that priceless shot where he's confronted by his rape accusers in one of the presidential debates. But this morphed into, Hillary's arguments morphed into that Donald Trump is working with Russia. Well, as it turns out, and I hate to admit this, but I hate to be the one to actually release this, but I came across some imagery. I'm going to show it to you now. As it turns out, your president may have actually talked to Russia. Yep, that's definitely him right there, and standing next to him. That's Vladimir Putin. You got him red-handed, guys. I would be worried if your president wasn't talking to the president of Russia. And more than that, that's the job of the president, is to talk to the president of Russia. And there's many things going to be discussed he's not going to share with I think he had a memo and he didn't come over and share it with us. You guys will be absolutely out of your mind. You know what, you big media guys? About what's going on in this picture right here. I can almost read the lips. I bet you what Trump is stating to Putin right here is he's fixing to become a communist, turn on all of us, become a traitor to the country, and kill us all. I bet that's what he's planning to do. I bet the entire election was just for that cause. This is the stupidest. This is humiliating that these things are even being said. Yes, your president talks to the president of every land, every nation. In fact, this right here standing next to him is even worse. This is one of the more dangerous fellows on all earth. And we just cut a peace deal with North Korea. That's unheard of in world history, in the history of North Korea, period. No, we just shh. We don't talk about it or bring it up because we're too busy coming up with nonsense. See, when I see somebody that's fighting for me and making the numbers skyrocket and making peace agreements with some of the most dangerous people on the planet they're able to negotiate and work with, and I see people attacking that man, boom, 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 every day, and this is while he's doing all this good stuff for you, I began wondering, who are the puppeteers that are coming down to affect this man? And that's whether you're a Democrat or Republican. You'd be wanting to ask that question. What the heck is going on here? Just shh, don't bring it up, because we're too busy talking about Russia. So far, we've accused him of, I guess, we're accusing him he's going to work with Russia to try and flip on all of us or something. And then beyond that, we've stated that we found a guy that likes girls. That's another allegation. We found a rich guy that likes pretty women. In fact, I found a photo for this. Well, why look further? I found the photographic evidence right there. You've got to be absolutely out of your mind. Well, we found a rich guy that I think likes pretty girls. What are you crazy? Tell that joke to King David and Solomon when you get to heaven. Hey, we got a rich guy that likes pretty women. And that's pretty funny. That's a great joke. But some of these I found a little bit fascinating. I believe it was J.D. Smoke that pointed out to me. This lady here, Stormy Daniels. Honestly, I don't actually, there's something fishy about these claims. But whatever the case, the name's Stormy Daniels. Just like in the book of Daniel, you've got a storm coming during the presidency of, of Trump, Pence, Trumpets, Kim Clement, part of his prophecy was Trump would become a trumpet. And every time you had these prophecies, speaking of Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea, who we cut a peace deal with, prophecies of Kim Clement, I found this unusual tape, an old grainy piece of footage. In fact, this one here on the screen behind me.
I cannot explain to you what has happened to me. I was caught up in the spirit. Maybe 25 minutes at that time, I could not see a thing. All I know is this is a very special thing that is happening in this nation. This is a very special thing that is happening in this city, in Washington.
Where Kim Clement, he's in Seattle, I believe, was giving a prophecy. And in this prophecy, all of the prophecies surrounding Trump that came from, this is Kim Clement on the screen behind me. This is a prophet of your age, my view, and also the Lord's view. That's what the Lord said. At least agrees with my spirit.
But he shall not come in the time of President Obama. They shall come when this new one arises, my David, that I have set aside for this nation. A man of prayer, a man of choice words.
All of the prophecies that Kim gave surrounding this time period of Trump, whether it be a lifting up, your economy would skyrocket, these were all things that Kim was stating. Your economy would skyrocket, they're going to fight the crap out of him, they're going to try and impeach him.
But God says, I have set him aside. They will shout, impeach, impeach, but this shall not happen.
He was prophesying prosper. He was prophesying this time period of prosper, and this time period of Trump becoming a trumpet.
God said there have been too many nightmares and there have been too much fear, and this has come from the dispersing that has come from a chest that has been opened up by the powers of hell. But yet God said there is a treasure chest that is about to be opened up, and a provision that will come to this nation, which people will say it is impossible. Some will even say it is evil. But God says, fear not, for the shaking that you're about to experience is coming because this that you have been laboring is a child that is about to be born.
And all of those prophecies would be encapsulated with this unusual thing, this unusual time that God is coming into. And that's the way this set of prophecies started.
A move of the Spirit that is about to be birthed. Even as you fasted and you've prayed and you've called out to God and you've said, where is the God of Elijah?
He covered himself in sackcloth, as they would do in the ancient world, like you were covering yourself with sackcloth and ashes. And he's beginning to talk about Elisha in this still, small voice.
Listen, America, listen. Listen to the child that is about to be born. Listen to the sound of this child. For even as God says, even as people have said, we cannot take it anymore. The church is redundant. The church no longer has the life that it has. Do not be fooled, God said, for that which is invisible, I'm going to make visible.
Throughout the course of this tape, and then he cuts into the prophecy, and he's talking about the time period where there would be people looking up at this sign that's in the sky. I was mesmerized by this.
Lift your hands up, lift your hands, for the Spirit of God said, look at the sign that is coming in the sky. Keep it going, keep it going.
Because at the time that Donald Trump was running for president, one of the big things, if you were in any of the prophetic circles, was that people were looking up for this sign that many believed would be the rapture. It wasn't, of course, the rapture. What I found fascinating is people were all looking at this thing, this sign of a woman in the sky.
The biggest topic in Bible prophecy for those who are awake and aware is Revelation 12. Because it looks like there is a sign in the heavens in September of this year, 2017, that lines up exactly with Revelation 12, 1 and 2.
Lift your hands up, lift your hands, for the Spirit of God said, look at the sign that is coming in the sky. Keep it going, keep it going. I need it, I need it. But God said, would you call for God to show you? For is it not told, says the Spirit of God, that this woman had brought and gave birth to this child,
which describes a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She is in labor, and she is giving birth to a male child.
And brought and gave birth to this child is likened unto a generation, the bride of Christ, that gives birth to this great move, this end-time move. Men have cried out for it. In the early 17th century, they saw your day.
Kim encapsulated this time period where there would be a deal cut with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, a time period of Trump, lifting up of the nation, and spiritual moves of God that would begin to stem outward from it. Encapsulated in this time where people would be looking up in the prophetic circles of a woman in the sky clothed with the sun.
But I will bless your hands, I will bless your womb, I will bless your businesses, I will bless your churches, says the Spirit of God. Are you listening to Him tonight? Keep praying, keep praying, keep praying, church. This is a word for the United States of America. I've been caught up into a spirit world. I cannot move from there now, for God says there is a sign. There is a sign that is coming from the heavens, and you will see it. It is as a woman that holds a child.
Now, if that's not cool, I don't know what would be.
From North Korea, a unique threat, and from Kim Jong-un, a first message in English, vowing to make President Trump, quote, pay dearly, calling him a mentally deranged dotard.
Now, your medias were all mocking Donald Trump for using Twitter. Now, what I find funny about this is all of your nations, prior to Donald Trump becoming president, they had ministries of propaganda that they used. They had state-run television. They still do. But they would all communicate through their ministries of propaganda, is how we communicate with each other. Now they all communicate with each other through Twitter. Even your most dangerous people on earth are communicating through Twitter, thanks to Donald Trump.
Or senile old man, that word now trending online, for threatening to destroy North Korea in his UN speech Tuesday.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself.
Right now, today, the talk of as I make this video, the talk of the world news is about North Korea threatening not only the world, but the United States with bolstering its nuclear power. The tape I'm fixing to play you comes from Kim Clement in 2009. This is in the same tape where Kim was talking about the year that people would be looking up at a sign that they believed was a woman in the sky, pregnant to give birth, and would give birth to a move of spirit. But wait, I had actually finished this tape that I'm about to play for you now. I was fixing to finish it, put the touch on it, and upload it. And I clicked on one spot in a 2-hour tape, and then this played.
South Korea, North Korea shall become one, says the Lord. North Korea, I've already written on the wall, many, God said, your days are numbered. You have been counted in the balances. Therefore, Kim, it is now time for you to face this that you have done. America shall look and say, what is this happening? We thought we could make peace through United Nations. Hey, what is the United Nation? It is an evil force, says the Lord, that is a stench to my nostrils. They are not what I have called. God said, my church shall arise and invade the kingdoms of this world, and the kingdoms of this world shall become the kingdoms of our God and His Christ, says the Lord. Come on!
By the way, there's boxes. That video that I sort of put together rather rapidly that had some stuff that Kim said, that comes out of boxes of VHS tapes that Donnie and Jane, Kim's wife, his daughter, one of his daughters, have been combing through tons of stuff. And a lot of that stuff is about America. A lot of it's about Russia. A lot of it's about Saudi Arabia. A lot of it's about, it's your current world news in advance. A lot of it on old VHS tapes.
In the early 1800s, they saw your day and prayed for it. Abraham saw your day and prayed for this day. Daniel saw this day and he prayed for it. For the Spirit of God said David saw this day and sang for it. Everyone saw this day, even as early as the early century. They saw this day and said, what day is this that the earth would yield its produce to the sons of men? What is this day that even the earth will save the woman that has run away as a flood has come and spewed out of the mouth of the serpent? So the Spirit of God says, it is so, and it is this day that I speak of. For many don't understand that there's been a war in the heavens for the United States of America.
Calling that a personal insult, Kim said Trump was a rogue and a gangster who's playing with fire. His foreign minister adding more fuel to the fire, threatening to test a hydrogen bomb over the Pacific Ocean.
And in this particular tweet here, and this is one of my personal favorites. I mean, I'm a big Donald Trump Twitter lover. I mean, he'll say something crazy on there all day. He just speak his mind. And I love it. I love it, and the world leaders love it. This has got to be by far one of the all-time favorites. This one was born to be remembered all throughout the ages of mankind in history. This was to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who was building his nuclear program. And he was telling everybody, I'm going to make nuclear weapons, I will blow the world up. And Donald Trump responds to this guy. I love this response.
Kim saying Trump's threats have now convinced him his nuclear weapons are necessary.
Donald Trump replies, says, will someone from his depleted and food-starved regime please inform Kim Jong-un?
The war of words is deepening, sanctions escalating. President Trump ordering new ones.
North Korea's nuclear weapons and missile development is a grave threat to peace and security in our world.
Well, Kim Jong-un tells the world, I've got the big red button. It is a nuclear button and it is on my desk. And Donald Trump replies, I do have a nuclear button. Only thing is this. Mine's bigger and it works.
Dialogue still possible?
Thank you.
But a nuclear threat in the Pacific has raised this crisis to a new and dangerous level.
These two have become friends. They're like kids on a schoolyard. And Kim Jong-un agreed to shut down his entire nuclear program. That doesn't mean that I trust him that he's going to keep his word. But at least the present, the time that I'm making this video, and Kim-Climatic prophecies from Kim Jong-un, he's got two roads and he's got to make a choice. He's got to make a choice. And if he reneges on his choice, that'll be bad for Kim Jong-un. But if he goes forward, there'll be prosper for his land, and prosper for his people, and prosper for himself, and all around joy. That's how joy works.
I'm just hearing this now. In the highest court in the land, the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, two shall step down for the embarrassment of what shall take place.
Dr. Ford, with what degree of certainty do you believe Brett Kavanaugh assaulted you?
100%.
I've never sexually assaulted anyone. Not in high school, not in college, not ever.
Persons painted him as a champion of women's rights and empowerment. I thought it was my civic duty to relay the information I had about Mr. Kavanaugh's conduct so that those considering his nomination would know about this assault.
The point is, after all of this, I genuinely cannot see a single good reason for pushing Kavanaugh over a replacement candidate, because you know deep down any judge they choose is almost certainly going to restrict abortion rights.
For I wish to place in the highest court in the land righteousness. And they shall attempt to put others in to endeavor, to reach their endeavors. But God says, hear me tonight. Hear me today. I have this whole thing planned out.
It feels like they're doing this just to deliver a fuck you to Democrats, and even more directly, a fuck you to women. Because
did you see what happened on Friday? You know what I'm talking about, right? They knew. You knew that before. You knew that. These three women, they knew that before. They knew that a long time ago. So a woman who accused then Judge Kavanaugh of horrible, horrible crimes admitted that actually she never met Judge Kavanaugh or Brett Kavanaugh or Kavanaugh, period. Never met him, never saw him.
Brett groped me and tried to take off my clothes. He had a hard time because he was very inebriated.
And even more directly, a fuck you to women. Because when this week began, The biggest fear for many was that the committee would not believe Christine Blasey Ford.
And the act never happened, and it was a lie. It was a total lie. She made up the story.
A woman who accused Justice Brett Kavanaugh of rape has admitted she made it all up. When investigators confronted left-wing activist Judy Monroe Layton, she admitted it was all just a ploy to stop the nomination. It nearly ruined a man and his family.
And she was forced to admit it.
In those same prophecies and prophetic tapes, you have words about, well, this guy right here.
And they shall say, what is your plan for this giant?
Roger Stone. I went to dinner with him in Austin, Texas on that particular evening.
And he will take a simple stone. Remember the name.
Roger Stone, a friend of Trump. Well, your medias are thrilled to death right now, this morning, while I'm making this video, to announce and tell you they've arrested on 7. I find those numbers fascinating. Numbers are all signs. 7 felony charges, and it took teams of FBI agents with hand grenades and guns. You can watch the footage of them running up to the door. This guy's 70s. He goes to the door in his pajamas.
There shall be no people that shall say it is okay to do these things, for God said this that is about to be born is one of the holiest moves of my spirit, and it shall be done with the most unholy people that lie alive today, says the Lord.
In this particular video, some of the clips I started going through a lot of the old clips of stuff that God in a Nutshell has done, and I thought to myself, wow, you know, even when I thought to myself, what am I even making? I was looking at these old videos, and it's like, wow, sometimes you need a refresher. The moment you thought at least the Lord was actually leading your very footsteps. And when I say me, I really mean you. In fact, we put up a video for 2019 called The Prophecy of You. No matter what year it is, I want to go take a look at that. It talks a little bit, just not about this time period, well, but about, just like the title, about you, Prophecy of You.
But the plan is so brilliant, says the Lord. It could only have been given by me.
When I think about old grainy tapes, just like the old grainy tapes of Kim Clement, going all the way back to the Theory of Everything and some of the original, look at the choice that God in the Nutshell put up. Those were 3 videos that were really what started the God in the Nutshell videos. But even the grainy old stuff like Theory of Everything, which by the way we're going to release in HD at some point in the coming, hopefully this year. But I sat back the other night and I was looking at, this one in my hand, Entities. And those of you that have a copy of Entities, you might want to pop that in tonight, kick back on your couch. Because some of the most prophetic stuff, and of course you've got spiritual, supernatural stuff going from here to Timbuktu in that particular video. But more than that, I was like, wow, this is one of the most prophetic videos leading to your age. Well, from Kim Jong-un, Donald Trump, me, Trey Smith, and Democrat and Republican. I'm going to speak for both, from sea to shining sea alike, and every place in between. The state of this union, which is infecting the entire world, the state of this union, and for you and your families, is very, 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 3 varies, good. While you're walking through ghosts and goblins and demons and all of this other stuff that you aren't going to find on YouTube, by the way, and stuff with the Clintons in there and their cult. But almost like a prophecy leading to this very day. In these old God in a Nutshell tapes, each one of these, both of these in my hand, these 2 documentaries are 2 hours each. In fact, the Nephilim bonus disc, isn't that cool looking? They all look great on a coffee table. They all look great on a coffee table, sitting on your table. But more than that, leading, of course, to, well, stuff today, like the God dimension. There's heaven and earth right between the number 6 there. The old revolve. I wonder what that graphic means. It was in the God dimension. It's a powerful video. Favor. I pray that there be favor in the places where your feet step and walk. God bless every last one of you. That's the sign. God bless every last one of you and your families in this time period, in this life, and the next, on the other side of the screen. It was my friend Scotty Clark back there that actually led me to, and by the way, Scott, I still owe you one of these Trump Cyrus coins. He was, and these are not knockoffs, a lot of imitations out there. When you get one of these, you've not only supported God in a Nutshell and Israel, but the Third Temple in Israel. and you're owning a piece of history. Scott Clark, this one's coming to you. I still owe you a coin. Scott was the one that was on the phone with me while people were saying these were conspiracy, and they're made, by the way, by the book. You're holding something historical in your hands. One of these, not a knockoff, but one that's in my hand. You're holding something genuine. Not only is this little video here going up right the weekend before the election, but on our Prophecy of Trump video, that it had pulled 700,000 views in 7 days on October 7th. And that clock right there started from the moment after the upload when we approved it for public view.
He would be, on the day of the presidential inauguration, the day he puts his hand on the Bible and goes through the oath of the presidency, he would be 70 years old and 7 months and 7 days. That would be his age. And it would actually happen in the Hebrew year of 5777. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. You don't see that every day.
But you're holding an actual one of the things that people call a conspiracy. It was Scott back there on the phone. Scott, welcome back to the prophecy business. I knew your sign in the sky at the time. I knew somehow that was going to play a role in prophecy. And I was looking through all those old tapes, like old stuff that you see when you see entities. You look at it and say, wow, there was more to it than I even saw at the time that I was making it. These coins right here are by the book. They have the amount of silver in them that is required by Levitical law, for it is a third temple coin. And these are made in coordination with the Sanhedrin of Israel. As far as I know, God in a nutshell is the only people that have cut a deal with Israel on these coins and with the Sanhedrin. Oh wait, one last little second here. I do have a special guest in today, and give me one hot moment. I have a person I think you really will want to hear from that would like to have a word with you. Donald Trump just keeps coming at me and my friends and trying to get me and others thrown in prison. So, sort of the thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Well, I've been coming up with Russian stories and all sorts of other bogus stuff on behalf of my puppeteer friends. Am I beginning to look embarrassing? And by the way, I also didn't have anybody executed for the release of my emails. It was the Russians. I swear it was the Russians. They're coming after you. Donald Trump, he's been working with the Russians. Whew. Man, it gets hot in that mask. It's a wicked mask. I'm Trey Smith. God bless every last one of you and your families on the other side of the screen.